Speaking of someone he's really going to get mad at, though, here is Elizabeth Warren questioning Tom Price. Tom Price, of course, is the Health and Human Services Secretary. Tom Price made a real point of, one, distancing himself on some level from his own plan to repeal and replace Obamacare. They have kept him at arm's length, supposedly in the administration, the Trump organization in waiting, in discussing how they're going to repeal and replace so that he couldn't answer those questions at the hearing. But what came out was that Tom Price was trading stocks and then pushing legislation that would help those stocks, and not even in industry, like specific stocks. And he's arguing throughout the hearing that, and I never heard any of the senators, maybe someone did, say like, wait, are you telling us this is a coincidence? I mean, just as Elizabeth Warren is asking this question, she does a good job of hammering Tom Price. But throughout this exchange, understand that the affirmative explanation for what Tom Price is talking about is that it's a total coincidence that his stockbroker bought a stock that was directly helped by a legislation that he was attempting to pass a week later. That is quite a coincidence. I mean, that's sort of pretty shocking. That's a really smart stockbroker. Here is this exchange. And I also want you to focus on, for those who can see this, Tom Price is looking to the other Republican senators on the dais, hoping that they're going to stop this line of questioning. Like, don't you think you should interrupt her or something? Okay, here it is.
That is Zimmer Biomet. They're one of the world's leading manufacturers of hip and knees, and they make more money if they can charge higher prices and sell more of their products. The company knows this, and so do the stock analysts. So on March 17th, 2016, you purchased stock in Zimmer Biomet. Exactly 6 days after you bought the stock, on March 23rd, 2016, you introduced a bill in the House called the HIP Act that would require HHS Secretary to suspend regulations affecting the payment for hip and knee replacements. Is that correct?
I think the BPCI program to which I think you referred, I'm a strong supporter of because it keeps the decision making.
I'm not asking you about why you support it. I'm just asking, did you buy the stock and then did you introduce a bill that would be helpful to the companies you just bought stock in?
The stock was bought by a broker who was making those decisions. I wasn't making those decisions.
Okay, so you said you weren't making those decisions. Let me just make sure that I understand. These are your stock trades, though. They are listed under your name, right?
They're made on my behalf, yes.
Okay. Was the stock purchased through an index fund?
I don't believe so.
Through a passively managed mutual fund?
No, it's a
Through an actively managed mutual fund?
It's a broker-directed
Through a blind
account.
trust? So let's just be clear. This is not just a stockbroker, someone you pay to handle the paperwork. This is someone who buys stock at your direction. This is someone who buys and sells the stock you want them to buy and sell.
Not true.
So when you found out
That's not true, Senator.
Well, because you decide not to tell them, wink, wink, nod, nod, and we're all just supposed to believe that?
It's what members of this committee, it's the manner in which members of this committee, well, I understand that, but it's important to appreciate that that's the case.
Then I want to understand, when you found out that your broker had made this trade without your knowledge, did you reprimand her?
What I did was comply.
You found out that she made it.
What I did was comply.
Did you fire her? Did you sell the stock?
What I did was comply with the rules of the House in an ethical and legal and above-board manner and in a transparent way.
You know, all right, let's stipulate.
Time has expired, Senator Warren.
I believe Senator Murkowski went over by 2 minutes. Did I miss that? Read the clock here?
By 2 minutes.
I think that's what it was, and I've just burned another 15 seconds.
Well, keep burning them, and you'll be up to 2 minutes.
Okay. So your periodic transaction report notes that you were notified of this trade on April 4th, 2016. Did you take additional actions after that date to advance your plan to help the company that you now own stock in?
I'm offended by the insinuation, Senator.
Well, let me just read what you did. You may be offended, but here's what you did. Congressional records show that after you were personally notified of this trade, which you said you didn't know about in advance, that you added 23 out of your bill's 24 co-sponsors, that also after you were notified of this stock transaction, you sent a letter to CMS calling on them to cease all current and future planned mandatory initiatives under the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Innovation. And just so there was no misunderstanding about who you were trying to help, you specifically mentioned
2 minutes are up, Senator Warren.
replacement.
Thank you.
There you go. I mean, honestly, at that point, it's like, are you saying it's a coincidence?
Yes, I am.
It's a total coincidence. And understand what she was doing there when she was going through the litany of different ways in which you can purchase stock as part of an index fund, right? Where you don't necessarily know the different actual stocks themselves. As part of a blind trust where you have no control whatsoever of it. This is through a broker who apparently, according to, if we're to believe Tom Price sends them $300,000 and says, go hog wild, man. Do whatever.
Trust your gut.
Trust your gut. I'm sure eventually you'll hit on a stock that I'm about to introduce legislation that's going to help.
Trust your hip.
I mean, how many stocks could there be out there?
There could be
thousands?
Tens of thousands.
Well, I mean, eventually you're going to land on one that is going to benefit directly from a piece of legislation he's going to introduce a week later. I mean,
and always isn't like the I resent that is always the tell.
Yes.
It's like, oh, okay.
How dare you?
Now your whole career, which is like dedicated to like eliminating like healthcare coverage for like kids and widows, and you're like engaging in, you know, all sorts of corrupt acts involved your congressional career. But now you've hit that point.
I got to say, if this, I mean, honestly, just put yourself in this guy's situation. Look, I got to say, Senator, I know it sounds crazy because what are the chances that my stockbroker would just completely on her own, without any prompting from me, buy stock in the one of two companies that are going to directly benefit from the legislation? I know that sounds crazy, and it's crazy to me. And then when I found out about it, I thought, if I sell this stock now, it's going to look like I purposely did this.
Yeah, then it's going to look like a pump.
It's going to look like I'm trying to cover it up.
Yes.
So I better not sell that stock. I better just go ahead and continue to push the legislation, keeping the stock so that I don't look like I'm doing something that looks nefarious.
And hurt the country by depriving of really important medical legislation.
Exactly.
I would have gone the God route. I would have been like, Senator, I don't know if you believe in your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, but sometimes he works in mysterious ways. And we cannot control the revelation of that stock to my broker.
I'm not a financial advisor, but isn't it a good strategy to diversify? So you'd want to diversify in companies that will and won't benefit from legislation you'll pass?
I think basically he's going to.
That's a clever point, young man. However, there's another category where if you know as an example for an absolute fact that within a matter of days, a company is going to benefit enormously because of. I probably shouldn't be saying this all out loud.
Last night I was on Chris Hayes' program, and whatever her name is, Packer. She used to be a Mitt Romney fan. She was a never Trumper. Now she's like an only Trumper. Basically said the American public doesn't care about this. And if he had brought in, she actually said this line. We should dig up this clip if we can find it. She said, if Donald Trump had brought in experts to fill these positions, everybody would have said, oh, you're not draining the swamp.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because that's what I thought when Stephen Chu was appointed Secretary of Energy. I was like, look at that typical Washington. Look at appointing a Nobel Prize winner who has expertise in his field. That's the type of disgusting Washington insiderism that I wanted President Obama to clear out.
Oh,
Get
my
the fuck
God.
Out of here.
Donald Trump has appointed people who knew what the department did before they accepted the job. It's disgusting.
It's almost like
swamp monsters. Hey, it's Sam Seder. Why don't you subscribe to this channel? You can do so right over here. Over. Subscribe.